Bellator is returning to Dublin's 3 Arena on Friday, February the 25th. It's just 3 weeks away at this stage. It features a massive domestic clash between Leah McCourt and Sinead Kavanagh, who are both ranked 4th and 5th in the featherweight division. And I'm delighted to say Sinead Kavanagh is with us this morning. Sinead, how are you getting on?
How are you, lads? I'm all good.
Less than 3 weeks to go, really, at this stage. How is the preparation? What's your level of fitness and expectation like at the moment?
Everything's going well. I even have wrestler here. I've a swollen ear from wrestling, and everything's going well. I'm looking forward to the fight. I prepared well, and I just had obviously just a training camp before this one, so everything's looking great.
The wrestler ear, is that something that you've obviously targeted in advance of this fight? Does that mean you're doing more wrestling sparring in the build up to this one than normal?
Yeah, I've been. I love wrestling anyway, so I do that every week, every Friday. It's a hard class to do, and I do it with the best. I'm doing it with Sergey, and it's a bad thing. It's terrible looking.
The scars of battle. It's it's like I thought. Is it not something that you're kind of proud of? A bit of a mark that this is who I are. Come and get me.
Yeah, well, I think the lads love it, but I don't think I need it. So I don't.
When does your when's the worst part of training camp for you? Is it these next few weeks where it's hardest, where actually the fight comes really into focus, or are the next couple of weeks the best because you're feeling the fittest and most ready to go?
Everything's going well. These few weeks now. We're just getting the training and just thinking of what you need the most, and the thing I hate is water loading. It's when you have to drink a load of 7 litres of water a day, so that's no fun, especially in the cold.
Is the point of the water loading so that you're flushing everything out of your body, but also then when the weight cut happens towards the end, you're kind of ready to lose a lot of liquid if you have to on the day? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, so just preparing your body for losing a few more pounds before the fight. Pounds that it's hard to get off you. So that's what you do.
And is the weight cut something that you are okay with generally, or is it actually getting harder and harder as you go on?
Oh no, it's getting easier. My body's getting used to it now these days. So it's my body's used to it, and every time you don't get used to the weight cut, but you get more prepared for it.
How long does it take after the weight cut for you to, or any fighter really, to get back on form or to be back in the zone again and to be back feeling good about life? Is it a couple of hours or how quick is that turnaround?
Yeah, it's a couple of hours. Yeah, once you get your liquids back in and you start to feel, a few hours then later you'll start to feel a bit more normal, a bit more with it again,
Just to go back to the difference between the boxing and the wrestling, you started your international career as a boxer. That's kind of, I think, how people might have been familiar with you first. So I don't know. I mean, but I'm assuming that was something that's a skill set that you rely on in moments of crisis. Then you have to acquire the skills of wrestling to become competitive at MMA. Is that something that you need to keep working on the boxing skills still, because you double down on your own strength, or how do you get that balance in your training?
Yeah, it's I've actually gone back to boxing. For this fight, I feel like that I've got a bit sloppy, the fights, and I just need to go back to a boxing club and train with the boxers. It's a very hard sport. You have so many different sports in one sport. And I'm doing wrestling and doing jits, and you just have to you can't let one slip, and you just have to keep up with every sport. And very hard on the body, Well,
I was going to say, even the balance and brain space and time. It's like this week I'm going to map out my training sessions, and part of it is going to be wrestling, part of it's going to be kicking, part of it's going to be boxing, part of it's going to be defending all those as well.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, you have a special day for what you're going to do, and and just hope you're not so tired to do it, you know.
And is that the case this late in the training camp, Sinead? Is it still a fairly varied programme?
Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing every day, you know. I have that. It's like a sync now with my body to know what I'm doing every day.
When do you start thinking about tactics for the fight? Has that already come into view?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you think about that. I suppose when you know who your opponent is, I'll know what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and yeah, try to bring that into the training, try to get that with spars and get people to kind of act like her and fight like her, you know.
For a fight like this, where you know your opponent so well, and you've known Leah for a long time, again, it's I guess it's double edged. On one side, you're like, okay, there's a comfort, you know exactly what's going to happen. On the other, it's not that you get complacent, but she might do something that you don't expect, and that could be more shocking because you're supposed to know what she's going to do. So, how do you prepare for what she's preparing?
It don't really, because we haven't sparred in a long time. Like, we know each other, and we've done some good things for each other, you know, for our training camps and stuff like that. But we kind of like distanced ourselves the last while, and because we kind of knew this was gonna happen. So I think Leah has improved, and so has I. So I don't think we know what each other is gonna do. You know, we just have to wait for the night and just feel about it that night.
Talk to us a little bit about the aftermath of the Chris Cyborg fight. What was your recovery like from that? Physically, obviously, you know, it's important to recover, but psychologically as well, the impact that a loss like that can have on some fighters, it's going to make them say, right, that's enough. On other fighters, you've clearly decided that you want to come back and you know, maybe get another crack at a title at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Like, she's the best in the world, like, you know, and I went in there to win, you know. The other girls went in there to survive. I went in there to throw down. I went toe to toe with Chris Cyborg, and I hit her and she hit me, and it was someone was going to get laid out, you know, and it was just it was me this time, you know. But yeah, of course I want to go back there. Like I turned her off. I done some great things in that fight as well, you know. I turned her off the cage. I put her on the cage, and I just went for it then. So yeah, I want to fix my mistake and get back there again and fight her, you know.
And I don't know, do you go through the video of it and go, right, that's the bit where I lost this fight. If I was to be in the situation again, I would do this differently. Is it, or is the fight too difficult to watch in that minute detail?
No, that's exactly what I've done. Like I know what I've done wrong. You know, I rushed it. I rushed it too much. Like, you know, I rocked Chris Cyborg at the start of the fight with a right hand. So, you know, I'm doing something right. You know, so I just had to fix my mistake, and I'll go again against her.
Is it a defensive thing then? Like, do you work on your defence to make sure that the next time when she comes like that you have a plan in place?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll just keep the straight shots in. Like, you know, I went too close to her and I got caught, you know. So keep me distance next time. Straight shots, and that's it.
I think there was some talk in the build-up to this fight that you might get a chance to spar with Kelly Harrington. Did that happen? Is that going to happen, do you think?
Yeah, well, I've been talking to Kelly, you know, and she said that she was going to fit me in. She's busy at the moment, you know. She has that book and stuff coming out, isn't it? But yeah, she said she'll fit me in soon. So hopefully that'll be this weekend or next weekend, you know. And then that's it. I'll wrap it up then.
Have you sparred with her in the past?
Oh yeah. Sparred Kelly loads of times, you know. Kelly's a good girl, and we big each other up and we go for each other's heads and all, you know. So we do our best for each other, yeah.
Sinead, what's the future for you in this sport, do you think? Like, how important a fight is this? What does victory mean, and what could defeat potentially mean?
I'm doing what I love, you know. I love this game. I'm doing this a long time, and the victory is getting back to the title, you know, getting back where where I could be world champion, you know, and defeat is, I'll just keep going again until I have to give it up, you know. It's a fact of life when you get taken down, you know, when something hits you hard, like, you just have to get back up and you have to keep on going. And I love this game, and I ain't giving up until I get what I want.
Where does that drive come from for you?
Well, it's either give up or, like, I do what, like, you know, I love this, and it's just a matter of, it's a life lessons from before, where you don't give up in life, you know. You have to just keep going no matter what life throws at you, like. So I'm going to do my best here, and that's all you can do. And I've been prepared for this fight, so I'm ready.
There's a really brilliant interview with you in the paper at the weekend, and you know, people can check it out and see some of the stuff that you've come through. It was very interesting, the relationship with your son. Obviously, you know, you want to be a leader in his life as much as you can, but at this stage he's also an adult now. So is that part of your drive as well, that you don't want to give up, that you kind of feel like you're passing something on to the next generation?
I just love this. I love the fight, and I love this, the whole preparation. It keeps me busy, keeps me head busy, and yeah, of course, life itself wasn't. I went through a difficult path at the start, so I just try to keep ahead and try to keep busy, you know, and that's what part of life is to do.
Was it a big decision for you to tell people about your backstory, or was that something that you were happy enough to share?
I think I came to a stage in my life where I just was comfortable in sharing it, where I wasn't before, because I used to carry it around with me still. I was still going through it, I think, where this time I've kind of got over it. It's in the past now. I'm moving forward and focusing on different things.
And like, you know, at the end of the piece, you were asked about maybe becoming a motivational speaker or something, or going and sharing your story with people. And, like, you know, you could do this in parallel. You don't have to wait until you're finished to tell that story. Is that something where you think that, like, you can become a role model, where you can actually show that there is an alternative outcome possible, no matter how bad the situation might seem?
Yeah, I do. I do think that, like, even coaching kids and giving them just something like they can take their life somewhere else, you know, they can take this to another level, like, you know, they can fight the best in the world, and you just have to keep just believe in yourself, and you might get there. That's all I can do. Like,
I think, Sinead, it's important too to hear stories like yours. We have a terrible thing where we reduce people in care or people who become homeless to statistics, and we don't really know their stories, and we don't really know what went into the whole range of different things that go into a family member becoming homeless, for example. And I thought, you know, the story that you told about your sister and your own life and the different paths that you guys are on at the moment, like, it's impossible for people to really know what went into somebody falling into homelessness, and homelessness being something. And also then the fact that it's a decision that we make as a country to allow this to happen. That's why I think it's important that your story gets told.
Yeah, you never judge a book by its cover, you know, and people judge people all the time, which is wrong, you know. They don't know anything about them, and I'm one for that story to tell, like, not to judge. Yeah, it's a sad story, of course, you know, and from my sister and stuff, the way she is, and it's hard to like see her. Like, I go through town and she's there, you know, and just, yeah, it's hard. It's hard watching her.
I'm sure, like, that's the thing, right? And the rest of the country, we get to walk past and we read the stories, and we hear the politicians debate on the radio about homelessness and the housing crisis. Yeah. But actually, you know, in your family, it's a real thing, and That's why, like, there's a humanity involved in you telling that story that actually reaches people in a way that no debate on the radio about whether or not we need to build more social and affordable housing is actually going to reach people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just hard. It's just seeing people like that, and you don't know their background, and just seeing people like families and stuff, and yeah, it's hard, and it's a big issue here in Ireland with homeless people, like, and they're everywhere, like absolutely everywhere, and it's yeah, it's terrible to see, you know.
Yeah, and look, we don't need to labour this anymore, but like your career and your willingness to fight and your desire to keep fighting was something that it sounds like was important in helping you make good decisions along the way to turn away from any of the potential pitfalls, like drug use, for example. You know, you said in the piece of the weekend that heroin was everywhere at various stages and in various places that you were. How important was having an outlet in sport in giving you focus?
Yeah, very much important. Like, it kept me on a good path, like, and it kept me going. Like, it kept me getting up out of bed and just training. Could bring the young fella with me, and yeah, and I met my coaches. All my coaches were great to me. You know, they seen something special in me, and they've always looked after me. And yeah, it kept me going. It just kept me on a good path, and I'm very thankful for what I do, what a talent that I was given to keep me on that path, because I could have ended up on heroin, like stuff like that.
So, what age did you start boxing properly then?
I done karate and then kickboxing, and then I done boxing. So I've been doing a lot of sports all over the years, and then I done MMA. I started MMA when I was 28, which was it was late in the game, but there I fought the best in the world, you know. So as I said, I'm doing something right, you know. To get that far is a blessing.
Yeah, because you boxed for Ireland. You were on a Katie Taylor, one of her teams, I think around, was that 2009? Was it around then, 2010?
Yeah, around there, yeah. I went to the qualifiers in the Olympics. I didn't make that, like, but yeah, I've been around. I boxed for a long time. I boxed Tasha Jones, Savannah Marshall. I boxed all the top girls, and yeah, it was, I learned the skill in boxing, you know. But I just got too much, and I fell out of love with boxing, so I joined MMA then.
Falling out of love with boxing, was that because of the judging and just how difficult it was to actually get a fair crack of the whip, or was it the sport itself?
Yeah, and funding as well. Like, they didn't fund the OBA didn't fund us, like, you know, and it was yeah, it was hard. I had a son. I needed to make money, you know, and the judging as well. Like, look at with Michael Collahan, like, that was on the telly, like, but if it wasn't on the telly, what else goes on? And I seen how dark it can get, like, all the corruption.
And MMA then was a release in some ways. Like, it was, you know, it's professional. You know what's going to happen, and you were going to get paid for doing something you really loved. Exactly,
you know. I walked in, and I wanted to go do a few. There was no money in the pro boxing here, you know. So I went into John's gym, and then, like, yeah, we done a few amateur fights, and I went pro, and that was our game plan to do, like, you know, was to go pro as quick as we can, you know, just get some fights behind me. And John's been very good to me, you know. Like, I walked in there and I was 75 kilos. I boxed for, and he was just like, "You're not going to box at 75." He brought me to a nutritionist, and he looked after me, you know, and he got me down to 66 kilos. So he took this for another level for me, you know.
And was that a difficult process? Like, the nutritionist says, "This is your new diet," and you're like, "Oh man, that doesn't sound like much fun."
Yeah, Yeah, well, I was just like, what do you have for breakfast? I was like, Cheerios. And he's just like, well, that has to go, you know.
What do you replace?
It was different.
What do you end up replacing Cheerios with out of interest?
Porridge.
Fair enough. How long does it take you to get used to that way of life, Sinead? And I guess even just getting used to the fact that John Kavanagh has shown so much trust in you at that point, and you realise, right, this thing is beginning to work out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I done it from the start, and I changed my body shape, and like I don't go up as heavy as I did. Can't even make 75 if I wanted it now, you know. Yeah, John put a lot of trust in me and love as well from the start, like, you know, and like he wanted to know my story, and I told him my story, and then he was like, okay, like, well, you're special, like anyone else would have gave up. And yeah, he's been nothing but nice to me, like, and I absolutely love John.
Because I was going to ask Sinead, like, how much of a community feel is there within the gym? How much of an environment is there for you to feel comfortable sharing your story? Clearly there is quite an environment for that.
In the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I just said it. I just said it this time around because I said I was over it. I'm over it now, you know. Yeah, I don't go around talking about it to everyone, you know. I've said it, and either you know it or you don't know it. It is what it is.
Somebody's just texted in saying there's a book in your story. I do think that's true. You know, I think it's brave to tell your story when sometimes it's difficult and it feels like there's trauma there, and you said you're still kind of living with it through or dealing with it, and it's always going to be who you are. But John Kavanagh, it sounds like, was right. There is something really special in being able to come through those things to get to a point where you're fighting for a world title, where you're going to be at the 3 Arena in a couple of weeks' time, and it's going to be absolutely massive. And you know, it's fairly clear that you're going to be the home favourite on the night as well. So do you get to enjoy those moments, or on the night itself is it purely and utterly focused on the fight itself? How do you make sure you feed off the crowd while not becoming too caught up in it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to fighting in Dublin again. I haven't been there since 2017, you know. Yeah, and of course it's special to me that, because I had that dream. That's what got me up out of bed. That's what happened. And I'm actually living it, you know. And there was something in me that just kept saying, keep going. And I've just proven that I did. It did do that for me, you know. And 3 Arena then with the crowds, yeah, it's very hostile, like, you know. It's real Viking, gladiator stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that I have the Irish crowd behind me for this one, because they're a crazy lot. But yeah, I'm just going to go in there and fight and put on a show, what I do, you know. And I'm not afraid of anyone in there. And yeah, I'm just going to prove why I'm there.
We wish you the very best of luck, Sinead. It's a remarkable story. Thanks a million for sharing it with us.
Thanks, Emil. Thanks for having me.